They called me the Butcher of Plainfield, but they don't understand. They never will. To them, I'm a monster, a twisted freak. To me, I was just a son, desperate to keep my mother close. She was everything, a godlike figure in my world. When she was gone, I couldn't bear the silence. The house echoed with her absence, and that's when it began. It wasn't always this way. I grew up in a small Wisconsin farmhouse, isolated from the rest of the world. My father was a drunk, my brother was distant, but my mother, oh, my mother, she was a saint. At least, that's what she told me. She warned me about the evils of women, their deceit, their filth. She said only she could love me. And I believed her. When she died in 1945, I felt hollow. The air in the house seemed heavier. Her bedroom, pristine and untouched, became a shrine. I sat in her chair, slept in her room, spoke to her as if she were still there. But it wasn't enough. I needed her, her voice, her warmth, her presence. So, I went looking. The graveyard became my sanctuary. I knew the schedule of the caretaker, the quiet hours when no one would see me. It wasn't hard. I would read the obituaries, choosing the women who resembled her. Fresh graves were best. The soil still loose, the coffin easy to pry open. The smell, the cold touch of their flesh, it didn't deter me. They were treasures, pieces of her I could bring back. At first, I just brought parts, pieces of skin, bones, hair. I used them to create something greater, something that could bring her closer to me. Lampshades made of skin, a belt of nipples, chairs upholstered in human flesh. It was art, in a way. A grotesque, macabre art dedicated to her. But the dead weren't enough. Their silence frustrated me. I needed the warmth of life, the fear in their eyes. Mary Hogan was the first. She was a tough woman, loud and brash, but when I shot her in her tavern, she was silent. I took her back to the farm, hung her like a deer in the shed, and began my work. Her face, her organs, they became part of my collection. Bernice Wardens was next. She owned the hardware store, a quiet, unassuming woman. I told her I needed antifreeze, and she trusted me. That trust was her mistake. One bullet to the head, and she was mine. Her son's suspicion led the police to my door. I didn't even try to hide it. How could I? The house reeked of death, the walls adorned with my creations. When they walked in, they saw what I saw every day, skulls as bowls, a skin mask stretched tight like a second face, a heart in a saucepan. My suit, my masterpiece, was hanging in the corner. It wasn't just skin. It was her. It was my mother. I wore it, her breasts, her face, her hands, and for a moment, I could feel her again. The trial was quick. They said I was insane, unfit to stand trial. They locked me in a hospital, where I stayed until my death in 1984. They could never understand why I did it. To them, I was a monster. To me, I was just a man trying to bring back the one person who ever loved me.